Hello again. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about heart, mind, body and spirit and ideas. Yeah, there's the 5 elements. You see it as depicted by this like star, you see the star all over the place. It's a symbol, it's just a symbol really. You can connect it to anything you want. It's a very powerful symbol. The pentagram itself has got like the golden ratio within it and stuff. And it's a powerful symbol, and it's often represented as earth, wind, water, fire and ether, or you could say liquid, gas, solid and gravity or whatever. Now I mean, through my own perceptions, through my own experiments, I've kind of come to my own, you might say, religion or whatever, my own personal little secret religion that I'm not going to tell you everything about, but I'll sort of pass on the points that I feel have like helped me, find some clarity. And one of the points was like the connection with the human body, the natural system of the planet and the earth and the mountains, and the way we integrate our own body into the bigger body of Mother Earth, Father Nature, and the way that links in with mathematics too, because everything in the universe is bound to connect. I mean, I am a part of the universe, you are a part of the universe, so in that sense we're all one. And it's okay being all one, but if you went to a restaurant and ordered an 8-course meal, and then suddenly you got it all like in one big pot, all like mixed together, you've got your first course, your main course, your dessert, and all this stuff all mixed together in a blender, and zzz, and you get that served, and there's your 8-course menu to drink. You'd say, nah mate, the quality of life is the division in a way, is to like have this separation. So in which ways does it separate? Well, the best way I've found out of communication is to actually to look at the different ways that the body works and that. So we talked about mind in the last video, and body and mind are to me like addition and subtraction. The body works like with the mathematical addition, because it adds to itself, it builds and it adds. And the mind works on subtraction. It's like air and earth. Earth is the body, air is the mind. And air is, as you can see, there's clouds go through and you can see images, and it's empty. It's emptiness. Space would be full if it wasn't empty, obviously. So the mind fills itself with bits of information. For example, when you're a little child, you learn about this, you learn about that, but there's still a lot of things you don't know, and until you don't know those things, though, you don't know what you don't know. So you've got a lot of this empty space, and you have to work on a process of elimination from that what you do know, like the detective. Your mind has got a very detective kind of attitude. So if your mind confronts a situation, it has before it like all of the options really, and if you're a good-minded person, you try and focus on the good things, but generally we've all got the capacity in our minds to see the bad and the good just as information, and then we subtract from that. Oh, he's not a bad person, he's not he's not, and so there's a lot of subtraction in the mind as on. So you've got the body as earth, which is addition, the mind, which is air, which is subtraction, and then we come to the heart, which I see as being a multiplication. It works like flowing. The heart, obviously, it's got your blood, and in blood is what, 80% water or something. And if you know more about water, then you'll know that it is an energy storage system, and it also like multiplies and stuff. Like that's how homeopathic medicine works. You reduce in the medicine until it's almost not there, until just the information is left, and this information in water just multiplies. And yeah, water, it's about flow. It's about love and harmony and peace and feelings and stuff. Sometimes people say follow your heart, and I often had a problem with that, because I'd listen to my heart and it'd be saying, oh, I don't know. And then I contemplated more, like, if you've got 2 or 3 roads to go down, to ask the road, have you got a heart? Does my heart, you know, have you got a heart for me? You know, do I see my heart being happy going down this road? Really, more than, you know, ask my heart, because my heart hasn't really, you know, it hasn't got the same senses, you know, so it can make decisions based on a different thing. You have to like quite kind of question the heart. Anyway, yeah. But spirit is an interesting one, because as I was saying in the other video, just leave your mind, you know, leave your mind, stay in presence. The one problem with that, especially in modern civilization, is first of all, modern civilization, there's a lot of speaking going, a lot of talking, a lot of like mental work to be going on, so the mind does get precedent over a lot of situations, because it's like mind talking to a mind. So therefore you find yourself, you know, going into your mind in order to deal with modern civilization. So when you cut that off and you say, okay, I'm not going to think anymore, then suddenly you're free from all that mental babble, from all of that confusion. But you do tend to get left, or I find it, that you get left with no direction, which is at first nice, but then you think, well, what am I actually doing in life? You probably then will find an allegiance to nature, and the fact that your purpose is kind of like, you know, something to do with the planet Earth. You know, you are the hands of the Mother Earth, and you have got some kind of like task on this planet. What is it? You know, what is that task? You know, without getting all airy-fairy or religious or whatever, you know, and joining some kind of cult or whatever to try and find out all this stuff. You know, it's about continuing like you always did, except without the mind. You know, so obviously, you know, I've got a task. You know, how am I going to find that out without using my mind? Well, I mean, you know, it all has to work together anyway. So, you know, I'm not going to try and say you don't just turn off your mind completely. But at the end of the day, you know, for example, there's a child's game where, you know, you'd hide some sweets or something, and then you'd have the children running around the room, running around the house, and you'd be saying warmer, warmer, colder, colder, and as the child would get close, it'd be warmer, warmer. Oh, you're getting hotter. Oh no, you're getting colder again. Oh, you're really hot. Oh, you're burning, you're burning, you're burning. And then the kids will find it, you know. So it's like kind of this game. And if you do the same with your spirit, your stomach, your gut, you'll get the same reply. You know, like down here, you know, you've got this around your solar plexus area. I mean, it's your stomach, and it's said that the stomach is the second brain. And your stomach does digest food. It has a hunger. It's like, you know, it's got a very existential function in your body. And so there's a lot of decisions coming from your stomach, and you can ask yourself, you know, should I do that? Should I do that? You know, which makes my stomach more angry or excited? Or, you know, if you can actually locate and focus your attention on your stomach as you ask yourself these questions, and forget if your mind's going yeah, just listen to your stomach. And if it's like, oh, you know, your mind might say, I'd love to just go I'd love to just go on a mountaineering expedition. You know, your brain would be going, yeah, you can't do that, you've never done that before. You know, the logic just doesn't make sense. But in your stomach you're going, that's getting warm, that sounds nice, you know. Then maybe that's the thing to follow. Then you can say, right, well, Tibet or Africa, and then you start, Africa, you know, and you can kind of feel it. And then your brain can work out later, alright, if we're going to go to Africa, I better start thinking about this. But you've actually made more of a decision from your stomach or your guts than you have from your mind. And so your heart and your stomach, like your stomach is the division. You know, like when you eat food, it gets divided. It's like got this acidic thing which makes the food and everything divide and transform, you know, like fire. The stomach is the solar plexus, and all that area generates this heat, and it's connected to the will of the universe. So obviously, if the universe and your existence within it and everything is coming up with answers, then it's likely that you're gonna feel them through your stomach a lot. You notice, like, if you feel sick about something, you know, it's like a decision that you've had to make that your stomach doesn't agree with. I mean, there's the word spirit. You know, people talk about mind, body, spirit, soul, and I've noticed, and also looking at various languages and the anomalies between these words in different languages. Like, for example, in English and German, you've got the word in German Geist, which is similar to the word ghost. You know, the Holy Ghost, the Heilige Geist. Ghost, Geist. In English, we say Holy Spirit. We also call spirits like an alcoholic drink is a spirit. In German, there's alcoholic drinks called Geist. In a similar way, so it indicates to me that the spirit is definitely something to do with, like, heat. Now, I think it's in Latin. Spirit comes from breath. The word conspiracy comes from conspiracy, which means whisper together or breathe together. Spirit is then what comes out of your mouth as breath. But if you think about where it comes from, it doesn't just come from your lungs. It kind of comes from your gut and your solar plexus and your stomach. So when you breathe in, the heat actually comes from that fire energy, you know, down in your stomach, if you get my drift. And when you breathe in, it's not really your lungs going in and out like that, you know. It's your stomach that rises and falls. So this kind of indicates that you know, your heart is here and your spirit is here below. Yeah. And so you've got like this subtraction. Your body is multiplication, addition. Heart is multiplication. Stomach is division. Now, light is interesting. You know, like the stomach is fire, because we're living in the realm of light. Everything we see is a reflection of photons, which is basically tiny little bits of light. You know, little bits of fire. We see them through our eyes. You know, through vision. Division. It indicates we're divided with the world. Anyway, that goes off into linguistics and stuff. And like I really wanted to just basically talk about making decisions from the stomach. Because I feel that that's probably one of the key factors to why we keep coming back to the mind to make decisions, because we're probably through drinking too much coffee and eating too much crap food and not really looking after our bodies and not listening to our bodies and not listening to the stomach and listening to our digestive processes and our heart. You know, we're like brains in jars these days. Not everybody, I don't want to say you are, but you know, I mean, I am sometimes, you know, and I'm very aware. I've got the privilege of having a lot of time, and this is a lot of my research. So, but you still find yourself a brain in a jar. You know, you having to talk to people, having to sit here in the dark instead of getting my laptop outside and stuff. You know. So it forces you back in your mind. The system will force you into your mind. And if the system can control your thoughts, it can control you. So the only really way out is to find another way of making decisions without just trusting your head. You know, your head is going to give you answers. It's going to give you conclusions. But there's other ways. Listening to your heart, listening to your mind, listening to your body, listening to your spirit, and also listening to the sum total, which is right in the middle, which is probably your soul or whatever, which is the sum total conclusion or something. I don't know. That's my little bit anyway. That's about it. So yeah, have a listen to your solar plexus. Have a listen to your stomach, and yeah.